And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Thanks for being with us in our continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton. We just brought you the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. Right now, Milton, 440 miles off the coast of Tampa right now. Maximum sustained winds are at 165 miles per hour. What we want to do right now is bring into the conversation one of these officials who is down on the ground there. Of course, that's Florida Republican member of Congress, our friend here, Carlos Gimenez. He joins me. Congressman, good to see you here, and thanks for making time. I know you're very busy. I guess I got to ask you this first. What are you telling your constituents about this storm in particular? Of course, some of your constituents, no doubt, they're still cleaning up from Helene right now. Are you worried some of them are going to choose to ride this out?
Well, I represent South Florida and the Keys, and so this storm is not going to directly impact us, apparently. But I can tell you that, yes, we're always concerned. Look, I was the emergency manager for the city of Miami during Hurricane Andrew. This storm looks a heck of a lot like Hurricane Andrew, only it's coming from the other side. And so what the residents have to understand that if you're ordered to evacuate, because storm surge is the #1 killer in any hurricane, and we're expecting a 15-foot storm surge from this hurricane when it makes landfall. The Hurricane Center is saying that it's going to be a Category 3, so it should weaken. But if it doesn't, then the storm surge is going to be even higher. So you need to evacuate. If you're told to evacuate, get out. Your life is not worth the risk. And then if you're going to stick it out, if you're not in an evacuation zone, have 3 days, at least 3 days of food and water, batteries, etc., the things that you need in order to survive. Be by yourself for 3 days, because it could take up to 3 days for authorities to reach you with all the debris that's going to be on the roads. It's a very powerful storm, and so we expect a lot of debris. We expect a big storm surge, and we expect a lot of damage to be in the wake of this storm.
Yeah, the kind of predictions for it are quite catastrophic here. Live Now look there on Capitol Hill. I just want to get your thoughts as a member of Congress about some of the response from the federal agencies, not only to Helene, but what will be for Milton as well. DHS Secretary Mayorkas had indicated last week, sir, that funding streams were depleted in the disaster relief fund. Are you confident right now in FEMA's funding capacities?
Yeah, I am. Look, we did a continuing resolution. The new budget year starts on October 1st. The continuing resolution isn't that you spend, it's whatever you didn't spend last year. It actually gives you brand new authority to spend this year.
Yeah.
If all of those funds are depleted in October, or what? We're on the 8th of October, and your fiscal year started on October 1st, we got a problem. And so, no, I don't think his funds are depleted. Look, to be honest with you, when I was the mayor of Miami-Dade County, we planned to be self-sufficient with local resources and with state resources. We never counted on the federal government.
But the federal government has a role here, though.
It does, but don't count on them. Okay. I mean, we've been burned before. We got burned during Andrew. They had a role. They were supposed to do certain things, but they never did. They always came in afterwards. Okay. And their role is more in the funding of the things that we have to do after the storm. And so that's why Florida is really good at this, because we don't plan on them. We're going to take care of it. And then when they come in, thank you very much. Thank you for we took care of it. That's that's the way we handle the things here in the state of Florida, because we know what the federal government can do. They promise a lot, but we also know what they can do and what they don't do. They do give you funding and help you recover at the end, after the storm, after we've taken care of the issues.
Right, and of course, the continuing resolution to fund the government partially till December 20th. $20 billion was included in that. It was appropriated for the FEMA Disaster Relief Fund. You voted for that as well. Deanna Criswell, she's the FEMA administrator. She was on Fox on Special Report last night with Brett Baer, and she said this: we have enough funds to absolutely get through the response for this hurricane, meaning Milton, as well as the continued response for Hurricane Helene. She said, though, we don't have enough money to continue throughout the rest of the year. So is the funding there or not? It seems like the goalposts are shifting.
The funding will be there. So she's already said that there's enough funding for Milton and Hurricane, which I always thought there would be, because that's part of the continuing resolution. And so when we get back in December, the work that we have to do is fund the rest of the year. And so that's what we will do once we get back. If there's something else that happens that funding is absolutely necessary, I'm sure the Speaker of the House will bring us back and have us vote on a special resolution, a funding resolution, or whatever it is that may be coming our way in the next 2 months or so.
Okay. Oh, so your colleague on the Senate side, GOP Senator Rick Scott from Florida, he wants Majority Leader Schumer to reconvene the Senate, at least, for some type of supplemental funding for these disasters. You're anticipating that Speaker Johnson might follow suit. Do you think he would? Do you think it's necessary?
If it's necessary, yes, he will. I'm sure. Okay. Because our duties to the American people, we can't just say, well, we're just going to stay out, until the next scheduled session. If something happens where we need additional funding, I'm sure the Speaker is going to reconvene us. Hopefully all of Congress will be reconvened and we can get this funding, if necessary, passed as quickly as possible.
So, sir, I just wanted to clear up something, too, from a lot of, your colleagues there on the GOP side. They're conflating FEMA funding with, the illegal migrant crisis and the disaster relief fund. Can you help clarify? They are separate funds, are they not? What's going on with this migrant question in FEMA?
Yeah, but the thing with the migrants is that you're spending billions of dollars on migrants that could be used for helping Americans, right? And just because they just happen to be on different pots, it's all the same money, right? It goes to the same agency. Like when I was mayor of Miami-Dade County, if I had to take care of an issue, an emergency, et cetera, I wouldn't say, well, gee, I didn't budget for this. No, there's got to be other pots of money. You go ahead and take that. Emergency monies, you go ahead and take that. But the problem is that we spend so much money on these migrants that they can't kind of shuffle this money back into that pot, or at least use that money, because they've already spent it. They spend it on the migrants. And so, yeah, that's it's the same agency, and we fund the entire agency, and we put certain monies into certain pots. But if you got to do what you got to do to help the American people.
Okay, and some of your colleagues as well, including Chairman of House Oversight James Comer, he wants Deanna Criswell, the FEMA administrator, to come before his committee and testify about the hurricane response next month. He wants a complete review of FEMA. Is that necessary, do you think?
Oh, yeah, I do. And not just for this. Yeah, I do, because I think that Secretary Mayorkas is completely incompetent. And what I've seen has happened with Helene, at least in Georgia and the Carolinas especially, is not what I would consider a really good response to emergencies. And look, like I told you from the beginning, we don't wait on FEMA. We don't wait on the federal government here in Florida. We know that they're going to fall short. They always do, except at the end they do come in with the money. We got to take care of things ourselves. Unfortunately, I don't think they've learned that lesson in North Carolina. They don't have, this is a 1 in 100-year event for North Carolina and Georgia. For us, it happens like every year, okay? And so we get hit by a hurricane. So we know what we have to do. We know what to expect from the federal government, and we're really good. And Governor DeSantis is excellent, and as was Governor Scott when he was here. Excellent in emergency response and recovery. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we have a lot of experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, Floridians have this down to a science. I want to move on kind of from the funding questions here, Congressman. What about voting? What are you telling your constituents who might be concerned about the sanctity of their vote, or the possibility that their vote might be counted in the wake of some of these natural disasters? Can you assure them that it will?
Well, in my area, yes, they will be. But what I'm telling is my constituents, go vote. Find a way to vote. There are some areas that I'm concerned about in North Carolina where there are actually red counties that have been really hit hard by Hurricane Helene, that it's going to be difficult for them to vote. That's the responsibility of the state of North Carolina and the counties and the election supervisors in those counties to make sure that those folks there have the ability to vote. We need to get those votes in order for us to have a fair election. And And that's what we're saying here in Miami-Dade County, Monroe, the areas that I represent. I don't foresee a problem. There may be some problems in some of the other counties along the Panhandle and on the West Coast. Again, those are red areas. Okay, and so yeah, we need to make sure that our voters go out to vote, even though it may be very, very difficult for them, and even though they may have other things on their minds because their homes may be messed up and stuff like that. But it's very important that they go vote.
The Trump-Vance campaign put out this kind of 10-point suggestion plan for North Carolina election officials today. They're urging one of them to allow voters who've been displaced to another North Carolina county to have the ability to deliver their absentee ballot in the new county or to the state board here. So do you anticipate we're going to see some of these rules relaxed in order to accommodate some of these Americans, especially there in North Carolina, not necessarily as much in Florida, to make sure their vote counts?
Well, we certainly did relax those rules for COVID.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So shouldn't we relax the rules when you get hit by a hurricane? I would think so. Okay, when you're flooded out of your home and that you got to move somewhere else in the state, yeah, I would think that the fair thing to do is, yeah, you're a registered voter in the state of North Carolina. Yeah, okay, we'll allow you to vote in another county because of your situation, just like we did. We spent a lot of the rules were bet for COVID, and so I think the same thing should apply here. If this is a 1 in a 100-year storm and occasion, and yeah, there should be consideration for that. So I would hope that the state of North Carolina would take that in consideration and actually allow it.
All right, Congressman, just lastly here, I guess final thoughts for the state of Florida, your state of Florida constituents there in harm's way. What do they need to know?
Well, they need to know, they need to heed the warnings. You want to be self-sufficient for at least 3 days. Get out of harm's way. If you're on the coast and you're asked to evacuate, evacuate. Don't take chances with this. There's no need to lose your life for anything here. There's plenty of warning. Get out of the way. Get to safe shelter. Or move with a friend or family that's not in harm's way. But if you're asked to evacuate, evacuate. And if you're going to stick it out, in your own home, apartment, etc., make sure you have 3 days of food and water, batteries, all that you need. And if you have medicines that need refrigeration, take that into consideration too, and account for that. Again, you live in a state that knows what it's doing, has a great governor, great response, and so I'm confident that that will be okay. There'll be loss of life. This is almost inevitable in these storms, but hopefully that loss of life will be as little as possible.
All right, Congressman Carlos Gimenez from Florida there. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk soon.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.